how to solo complete all Cold War Season 4 multiplayer challenges. Ladies and gents, my name is Xander, aka Diaslayers, and in this video it's all about completing these Season 4 multiplayer challenges. More specifically, showing you guys the exact details as to which loadout to use, how to use this trick and that trick, maybe a different type of attachment, maybe a different type of equipment, and so on and so forth. It took me a little bit of time to actually unlock all these things, as you do have to get to level 200 to just even unlock all the challenges, let alone complete them. But don't let that deter you, because as you unlock these challenges, you're going to be completing some other ones along the way, and the process goes very, very quickly. And so the only thing left to add is that I'll leave some timestamps for this challenge and that challenge, as well as loadouts that I'm using, down in the description section below. Without any further ado, the only thing left to do is just to simply sit back, relax, grab that Mountain Dew, and eviscerate that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's jump right into the video. As we can see, Diaslayers, I completed every single one of these challenges. And don't worry, we're going to go into all these step by step. But what I want to do first, I want to show you actually one loadout that I used to complete about 75 to about 80% all these challenges. And I'm telling you, that loadout is not going to disappoint. So, as we go back into my weapons, I'm going to go to create a class. Bonus Custom 2 here is the one that I use with specifically the LC10. This godly LC10 class I've actually made a video about previously, so if you've already seen that, I'll link down top right hand corner of the screen to actually see more in depth. But just very, very briefly, what I want to see is of course the muzzle, the sound suppressor. That's then going to allow you to be able to make sure that you're staying off radar, never appearing whenever you're firing the weapon, making you that much more stealthier. After this, we then happen to have the underbarrel, and here I want you to have the field agent grip. This is going to make the weapon that much more vertical and horizontally consistent, allowing you to land many more critical headshots. And that's absolutely essential for quite a few of these challenges, so make sure that you have on this attachment. After this, we happen to have in the magazine, and the magazine here is the Vandal Speed Loader. I'm telling you, that increase in reload speed is absolutely critical to have, especially if you're going to be getting some of these challenges done, so make sure that you have on this as well. After this, we happen to have the handling, of course the airborne elastic wrap for one primary reason, faster ADS speed. Now you're also going to notice there that's going to take away some sprint to fire time, which is also a form of ADS speed, but don't worry about that, and you know why? Because when you go down to the stock, you're going to have on this radar stock, and that's going to increase that sprint to fire time by plus 30%, making this thing very, very snappy going to the aiming down sight position. After this, I want to show you a couple other things. You're going to want to have on this Chimera launcher for several of these other attachments, or rather for several of these other challenges. I'll explain more about that in just a second. Lastly, the stim shot, the tomahawk, and the proximity mine are very, very curious, and don't worry, you want to have on both of these two things specifically for one challenge in particular, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. As for all these perks, by all means, feel free to change around these if you want to. I found these to be the best, and so again, this is all more in depth in that other loadout, so be sure to go check that video out. Alright, so now that we got all this done, I want to go back to the actual challenge themselves. And so as you can tell from right here, Soldier of Fortune states, get 500 eliminations with a full auto weapon. Guess what that entails? You guessed it, the LC10. After this, we got no camping allowed. This states that kill an enemy that hasn't recently moved from location 25 times. That's easy. How many campers we got in this game? They chill over in that corner, they chill over in that corner, they be like, hey, what's up, ho? How you doing? I see you on that corner, I'm gonna come get you. And you're gonna get them all the time, a lot of fun. After this, we got the daily grind. Complete 9 daily challenges in multiplayer or Warzone. Very, very simple, and the only thing that I want you guys to actually understand about this is that you can actually go to here, okay, and then hit square. This is gonna change this option here so that you can see all these types of challenges that you can complete, and then actually replace them as you so see fit. I had no idea this was even possible, and so once I understood this, it made this entire challenge 10 times easier, so by all means, pick what kind of challenges work best for you, and once you got that done, easy as pie. I gotta put on pause for just a second because I don't know why, but for some reason I skipped these next two challenges, head count and Warlord, so I want to cover them very, very briefly right now. To do a head count, it states that you have to get 2 headshot kills in a single life 25 times. Remember what I said from earlier? The LC10 class happens to have that field agent grip. That's exactly what's going to help you get those headshots 25 times, and you'll get that done very, very easily just by simply playing the game. As for Warlord, it states that you have to get 5 kills with score streaks or kill streaks in a single game 9 times. The 2 score streaks that I used to really do this was number 1, the hand cannon, and number 2, the strafe run. The hand cannon is very, very easy to get lots of kills with, and it only takes about 2,400 points I think to actually get it. And don't forget that it's got a very fast cooldown time, so you can actually get it multiple times in one game. As far as the strafe run goes, well, if you happen to get that, let's just say that you're going to get plenty of kills in one life, And this challenge is then going to be done so quickly, it's going to be like saying, check please, thank you, come again, I'm here all week. After this, we happen to have what? Okay, this is over here as well. Get 75 eliminations in a single life elimination mode. The best way in which I found this to work is when you go play S&D. Once again, what's the loadout that I use? You guessed it, the LC10. I use that exact loadout for not just this one, but for every single one of these challenges that we've discussed so far, and so by all means, I'm telling you, use that loadout, it's not going to disappoint. After this, Hiladion. Kill 75 enemies who are at lower elevation. As you gradually play the game in multiplayer or most likely team deathmatch, you're going to complete this, so don't even worry about that. That'll come as time goes on. Once again, we come to this 1-2 punch. Rapidly get a kill with both weapons that you are carrying 30 times. Now, the way in which I did this one was a little bit different, and I had changed that loadout just a tiny bit, so let me go ahead and cover that. Instead of using this custom class 2 and using this Sigma 2, what I did instead is I used some pistols, specifically the overall Kimbo pistols, and I went ahead and I used, which one was it? The AMP-63. And I did once again a Kimbo. But not just this, I went ahead and I made sure that this was optimized for range, so use all the attachments for range, and not just that, but also go into hardcore. It's very, very simple to go ahead and get somebody at cross-map distances, even with a pistol and hardcore. And so once again, use the AMP-63s with the LC10, swap back and forth, and that's how you're going to be able to complete those challenges. After this one, we happen to have what? Double Down. Double Down states, complete a match with at least twice the number of eliminations, then deaths 9 times. Once again, you're going to do this simply by playing the game, and you're going to be doing it by playing your playstyle the best. If you use the LC10 loadout, that's what I did, that's what completed this, it worked beautifully. After this, we happen to have Below the Belt. Get 50 kills while sliding. Funny enough, what I did for this is actually I went into hardcore, and rather than using a different type of weapon, I used the nail gun. I know, very, very curious, but I used the nail gun and I just slid everywhere simply by hip firing once again hardcore. You're actually going to do that for a camo for the nail gun too, so hey, it was killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and you can't go wrong with that. After this, we happen to have Nothing But Hits. Nothing But Hits states, using the sniper rifle, fire 3 consecutive shots that deal damage to enemies 5 times. Now, the way in which I did this was I actually used the K-Swiss 31. At least I think that's what it's called, maybe it's a Swiss K-31. Yeah, it's a Swiss K-31, excuse me. So as we go back to my loadouts real here, I'm going to show you the create class that I use. I always use this particular class right here. This one is going to be essentially used, I'll just cover it very, very briefly. I use the muzzle right here, the stabilizer 308, the barrel of the Tiger Team for the increased damage, the magazine for actually increased overall magazine size, the handling for a faster ADS speed, of course that serpent ramp, and lastly the stock, once again the radar stock to increase the ADS speed that much more. And what I did instead is I went into a different type of game mode for this, and unfortunately I don't see the game mode here, either here or in the main thing, and rather what I do is I usually go into snipers only mosh pit, and when that's the case, it's amazing, a lot of fun, as you're going to get many, many hit markers to complete that challenge easily. But if you don't happen to do that, there's another one where I believe it's going to be just 3v3 snipers, and that playlist isn't unfortunately here either. I'm looking for it, but I don't see it. But simply wait until those 2 playlists come up, and once you have that, man, it's going to be a piece of cake to get that challenge done and land so many hit markers, because once again, all you guys simply do is just get damage. Now as we go back to the challenges, what we got next? We got Just a Second. And Just a Second states that get 250 eliminations with secondary weapons. Once again, use that exact same limit that I mentioned from before, using the overall LC10 with the AMP-63 Akimbos, and that's going to be completed easily, especially if you go into hardcore. After this, we happen to have the Strong Support system. Here you earn 200 support assists with score streaks, equipment, and field upgrades. What I primarily did for this is I went into actually using some score streaks, and let me cover that first. Then I actually used some equipment as well, but I'll show you that in a second. So as we go into the score streaks, what I did is I went to 1, 2, 3, wait, where am I? Oh, there I am. Okay, here we go. I used the spy plane. This is absolutely essential to have, as it's going to allow you to get so many of these support skill streaks done easily, no problem whatsoever. But on top of that, what you can also do is you can use what I like to use at the very, very end here, and that is, of course, the harp. Now, I know the harp is a little bit hard to get, but I'm telling you, this is also a great way to complete this, because this is also going to give you that plus 10 every single time that the harp is out, once again completing the overall challenge. Now, if that's not your cup of tea, then what I would also highly, highly recommend is once you go into this, what we're going to guess, the field mic. This field mic is going to be helping you tremendously, especially gain that overall support and once again completing that challenge. So if you can use those 3 things, that challenge is going to be complete, no problem. It'll be very, very easy to do, and once again, don't think about it, and gradually complete it over time using those loadouts. So going back into the challenges, what are we going to find out next? Take a closer look. Get 250 kills while aiming down sights using a weapon with an attachment 2x magnification scope or greater. What I did for this is actually once again go into hardcore. Because I didn't have my AUG actually upgraded all the way, making it diamond, what I did is I actually used my AUG. So let me go ahead and show you this real quick. I had this created class, I believe it's custom 3 or custom 2. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so here's the loadout that I use, exactly using the optic, specifically the Susset multi-zoom. This is the exact attachment that I use to complete this, and once again, where I go, you guessed it, hardcore. So using this attachment, using this weapon in hardcore, it was very easy to get that done. Just in case you're curious, here's the rest of the overall attachment that I use. Be my guest here, it's very fun, it's a great loadout to use, it's actually quite enjoyable as well, and plus, if you don't happen to have a gold or diamond, this is a great opportunity to do so. So we go back into the challenges, okay, we gotta take a closer look done, now we're gonna go up to far and away. This one says, using a sniper rifle, kill an enemy with more than 250 meters away. I know that sounds crazy, and trust me, you are not going to be able to complete this in regular, hardcore, or even team deathmatch game modes. The reason why I say this is because there's not a single map there that's going to allow you to have a large enough overall area to actually kill somebody at 250 meters. So what you gotta do instead, you gotta go into what's actually called Fire Team Elimination or Fire Team Mosh Pit. Those two playlists are going to have enough on an overall map size to actually get somebody at 250 meters plus. And the way in which I did so was actually using one specific weapon, aka the K-Swiss 31, but what I use is I use a specific attachment for the sight, and let me just show you what that was. I believe that it was down here, it could be on this one, no, it's maybe this one. Well, I know it's one of these, there it is, okay, so here we go, going to the gunsmith, the optic, the Ultra Zoom Custom. This is exactly what you want to use if you want to complete this challenge, because this one particular sight allows you to easily zoom in multiple iterations and then use the actual sight to then guess as approximately how far that somebody is, take into account for bullet drop. It's actually a little bit challenging at first because it was my first time doing this, but once you get that bullet drop down, oh my gosh, it's one of the best gratifying feelings. And when I go into those game modes over and over again, saying peekaboo, let go got you, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Tools to the trade, that's the next one. It states that get a kill with both a weapon and a piece of equipment in the same life 50 times. This is going to be once again using that main LC10 class that I mentioned from earlier, and the reason why I had that Tomahawk on was for exactly this challenge. As we go ahead and we inspect it for the custom 2, what do you guess? The Tomahawk and of course the proximity mine. These two things are actually both going to count towards that challenge. So all you simply gotta do is get the one kill with the LC10 and then happen to use the Tomahawk or the proximity mine and then get a kill in that exact same life. Now what I found is that using the Tomahawk is the best way to do this because once again, it's pick-upable, meaning that as soon as you toss it, you can go pick it up and do the same process over and over again. If you happen to miss, maybe you get the kill, pick it up from the body, and get multiples of these things done in the exact same life or multiple deaths, so on and so forth. That's the best way that I found to do it. Now if you want to do something different by using the Semtex, by all means you can do that as well, but keep in mind that you only get one of those per every single life, whereas with the Tomahawk you can get it over and over again. Okay, as we go into the next one, we got Turn the Tables. And Turn the Table states that kill an enemy that has previously damaged you first 3 times. Once again, don't even worry about this, my friends, because you're going to complete this as you play the game, and it's very easy to get it done. After this, we got Pumping Iron. Pumping Iron states, get 75 headshot kills using iron sight weapons. What does the LC10 class that I mentioned earlier have? Exactly that, an iron sight, and so you're going to be able to complete this easily using that same layout once again. Lastly, we come to Top 10, and Top 10 states that you have to complete a public match with a score or placement among the top 10% of players 5 times. Okay, to be able to do this, you have to pretty much be in that number 1 spot for score, specifically score in Team Deathmatch. That's how I completed just as well, and so as long as you can become that number 1 place finisher and score 5 times, this is going to be completed once again using that LC10 class that I mentioned earlier, and trust me, that thing is godly. And so overall, you guys can tell that if I go over to my barracks, I've got many of these in my overall combat record, I believe. And there it is. You can tell I've got all these things done. It is a very awesome feeling once you have this entire thing complete. And let's be honest, that emblem with the angel in the background and all those swords, oh my gosh, it looks sexy and Gucci and Versace in so many ways. So hopefully this was helpful. Let me know down in the comment section below whether or not you have some more questions about how to complete this challenge or that challenge. And whatever it might be, you can definitely bet that I'm going to get back to you 110%, so I can't wait to hear as to exactly what you guys gotta say. Ladies and gents, there you have it, and so I'm dying to hear all your thoughts. Did this guide help or did it not? As I previously already mentioned, ask some more questions about how to complete these challenges down in the comment section, as I can definitely help you as best I can. Regardless of whatever you guys say, you always know that I'm going to respect your opinions as well as your questions, and that is something that I can guarantee. That's pretty much all I've got for you as of right now, Diaslayers, and so as always, GG, TNT.